Without further ado, everybody, meet Darius.
Well, and that's the fascinating thing that I find, being able to have that creative expression, and even as kids, just kind of playing and, just having fun with life, is you get this opportunity to really tap into that. I call it like, that divine flow. And you're just
Mm,
being, it's that act, it's that moving meditation. There's no thoughts, there's no emotions, there's just
mm.
expression and feeling it and just vibing and just like feeling the energies. And music to me is always one of the most fascinating things, being able to like make music with people, especially like improv, like bringing it back. Okay, so it was Danye Goodman, your guys' set.
Woo!
I ended up getting into one where it was like you guys at the Triple Door, and like that entire set, I was just like an hour plus. I was just you could just feel that energy of just like, oh man, they were having fun on stage, and they were like, that's what you could tell is like they were in the flow. They were totally in the
Yes, yes. Danye Goodman, he's been a big part of my musical journey. I call him Music Superman. He's definitely, he plays drums, plays bass, plays keys, and he's like phenomenal at all of them. He's a great, great music producer. I mean, literally, I made a lot of songs on my last record, which was called "Can't Get Enough." Like I had
love that.
my little sketches of the songs, my little versions of them, and then I just could trust that I would hand it to him, and he would do what I can't do. Put in the stuff that I don't know how to put in.
Right.
Yeah, so that Triple Door show was definitely a culmination of a bunch of dreams that we had been having, and we had made them real that night. I even had a friend say like, "Oh, I listened to your music. I mean, I got some of it or like whatever, but like, oh, that night though, like, oh, this is what you've been trying to make this whole time, because we had the whole
No.
thing, like I think we had
Yeah.
horns,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah. Yeah.
all like so backing tracks that were just right, not overpowering anything, like right where we needed the support. It was a really great night. Yes.
That's the beauty of that creative love, like literally that just creative expression of just being, and you let like life, the universe, the cosmos, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, like yourself
Yes.
just really gets to express itself freely. And when you're with other people who are also on that wavelength, that just like, I mean, what do we learn in physics, like all the waves just increase. And that's the dopest stuff for me, because man, like when you can tell people are having fun just by a sound and not even looking at
Mhm.
it. Like I was listening to like half of it while I was working, then I like had to be like, hold up, like I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna watch for a
That's
little bit.
awesome, man. It's
Yo,
awesome. That's
it
so
was
great.
beautiful, and again, like yo, people check it out on YouTube. Like you just gotta look it up. Like
That's
it
great.
was it was dope, and I think that's something that's really cool when you can find a group of musicians that are like that. So kind of stemming the two worlds together of that meditation and just kind of that inner looking, that search and development. Like how has music kind of helped this type of like spiritual like process unfold for you?
Well, it definitely, when I've needed to express either sadness, going through stuff, or even being very happy, I almost can't imagine what it would be like to not have that as this
Mm,
almost other character in my life to as a I mean, I'm seeing it now pretty newly as like this barometer of whether I'm enjoying myself or not, because there were definitely times where, like I said, I had a
wow.
love-hate relationship with music and
Yeah.
money and like being an artist and all that and having it be my job and forgetting that it was supposed to be fun. But it's definitely showed me, whether I'm interfacing with life right. Is this feeling, because this should feel good. If it's not, something's amiss. Like something's
Ooh.
amiss. Like this isn't feeling good. You sitting down playing some music or wanting to collaborate with some friends of yours. If that doesn't feel good to you, figure stop. Stop it. This is the good free stuff. This is the good free stuff. Music. You can play music, and people like that. This isn't great, and if this is not feeding
Yeah.
you, then figure that out. Stop for a second. Like get that to where it's fun or where it's feeding you, because or feeding others.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a big barometer, like
Yeah.
a measure
I love
for
that
that.
though. And it's this that I call it like the higher self. You know, it's kind of like guiding you in that sense where it's like
Right.
turn wrong way.
Right, 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 right.
Well, in
Yes.
terms of your musical creation, like how does it happen like for you in that sense of when you aren't feeling it? What is the disruption? Because I mean, like you're an amazing pianist, and I think that's one of the coolest things to see. But it's like your lyrics too, and just like your song, like your voice, like all of it just comes together. Like, is it the piano that feels off, or is it that I just can't? I'm in that writer's rut, or what is it?
It's that not good enough thing.
Mm.
It's the comparisons to others, that it's insecurities. It really is insecurities of
Mm.
how am I viewed. That it starts with this like self-doubt and is this really the right path? I'm not as good as this person and I want to be at this level. It's like I said, it's that you love it so much. I mean, your art, you do love it and you want to be great at it, and sometimes you don't just allow yourself to be wherever you are. It's just a reminder, just be wherever you are. If you're participating, I even tell my students that, like, I had a student recently who's like, "Oh, I didn't really practice," and he's like, "I feel bad. I'm wasting your time." I was like, "Look, you're already winning because you're playing piano. Like you could be off learning how to sell more drugs. You could be doing that. You could be doing that. So clap your hands that you've chosen with your extra time. You're going to learn an instrument, something that may spread some beauty. Just
Yeah.
that you're involved in that, whether you're great at it or not. That's your pursuit is salvation enough.
Ooh.
I have to remind myself, like, God, you could be doing so much. You can, sure, I'm maybe beating myself. Oh, I'm not good at this person, but it's really underneath. It's just this love for that art, and just like reconnect
Mm.
with that. Forget about all that stuff that makes you feel insecure or not as good as. Just participate in the art that you like. Participate in the
Yeah.
sounds you like. Let it envelop you. It's not about you being better. Like even the people that I'm comparing myself to, I'm not like, oh, that person is so great. I'm really focused on how their music made me feel, and I want that level. That level of like really communicating something that may be uncommunicatable by words.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yo,
So,
that's the stuff right there where it's like again when you're on stage, do
yeah.
you feel that that's just like that different type of magic than like anywhere else in life?
Yeah, definitely. I was, yes, okay. So there's there's different levels. So I like the Triple Door show was a definite a different level of accomplishment because it was like that's my music. That's like
Mm,
stuff that I've composed and I've watched get better over the years. Like I at this point I've released 3 records, and the first 2 records were kind of learning experiences. Like the third record actually
mm.
came out closer to how I envisioned it. Like I'm jokingly sometimes say like, well, I thought I was making that third record with the first 2, but no, I was just those were the ones that what got me to make that third one. Like that was closer to my vision of what I thought
Oh,
should
that's
happen.
beautiful.
Um, and then there's, I was been also fortunate in Seattle to play in a lot of jam bands, like improv, like literal, like we, for 6 years for 6 years I had a gig every Friday with this group called Jambalaya, and we would it would be
Mm.
like a made up set in the moment, like 2 sets on Friday, like literally someone would just start either a beat or some sort of melody or something, and we would all kind of join in and like make something out of it. And it's amazing how many times it was not a train wreck. Like it was mostly smooth. Like it's those, and those are some of the most magical moments. Like there's no
Yeah.
expectation, and whatever's right there in the moment gets to come out. Like yeah,
Yeah.
those are some of the funnest things. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of it didn't even get recorded, but just yeah, but just the that being in the moment and
Yeah.
with others doing the same, there's just nothing like that. There's just there's nothing like it. Yeah.
That's so see the thing that really like sticks out for me and what makes those types of experiences happen for like others to relate that maybe aren't musically inclined, but when you're just even when you're like working any type of like arts in the mediums or out in nature, just like living life, when you take expectations off of it, the
Mhm.
experience just instantly just like flows so much more like freely. And that's the stuff where you capture that magic sauce.
Seriously, yes. It's so serious. I mean, and even I mean, because even in an environment like that, even what you would consider mistakes get viewed different. Like
Right.
it's like that's just all part of what it means to flow. Like, I mean, especially as a jazz musician, a lot of times, when you're improvising, and sometimes it'll go an unexpected direction. You like instead of stopping or being like, "Dang," you actually use it. Oh, well, that could lead to this. Then, oh, I didn't
Sure.
think that was going to happen, but let's see what happens if I go do this. So I mean, and it's just kind of definitely a metaphor for life. To just like I said, just
Mm.
keep it fun. I mean, the the quote unquote failures or mistakes are just pointing to you where you want to go. Just you have to keep remembering that.
Right? Well, I always try to tell people it's like, how did you learn how to walk? How did you learn how to talk? How did you learn how to read and write? You
Yes,
fell
yes.
repeatedly, you spoke gibberish for months, you couldn't do it. You had to write everything super big and you held the pencil with your whole hand. There's a
Indeed.
learning curve to everything, and it always takes you to those next steps of just like refinement and getting better.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of music and really getting
Mm,
that type of impression young, because I grew up playing like classical trumpet. And I've
mm,
like from there like taught myself guitar and coming back to piano and that's one of those things where it's like, yo, I think I'm right there with you. Like without music and even just like writing poetry, like I don't know what my life would be like in terms of just like
yeah.
expressing, getting that, I guess you would say getting like the sadness out, getting those
Mm.
frustrations out in a way that
Yeah.
wasn't just like binge drinking or just like getting stupid high.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. 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 Exactly.
Oh man, I'm super excited because like I know you have your new single and everything coming out soon, and it's just one of those concepts right now where if the third album like can't get enough, which is fire by the way. I was what's the track that I was bumping like multiple times. It came back to Wild to Me. I just love that backing track to that.
Yay,
Like that's
that's
just one of my
awesome, man.
jams.
That's
Like,
awesome.
but
That's
it's
good stuff.
it is good stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, you're an amazingly talented musician. It
Oh well,
just
thank
I
you,
think
thank
the
you.
coolest stuff is the just seeing like what's the new one? Like what's the inspirations for all the new work that's coming out?
Wow, it both of those albums, like this one that's coming out and Can't Get Enough, they they took so long to make. Like Can't Get Enough was made over the course of 6 years.
Wow.
And yeah, over the course of 6 years. I mean, and not like I was saying, I definitely didn't plan. I would have loved to if it happened sooner. However, there is something special about me letting it take however long it took. There was something about how the songs got developed that, you know, that had it come out that way. This
Yeah.
one, this next one is more, it's even, I mean, it's even less intentional. It's even because I was just making things thinking I was going to come out with a record soon. And it's like all of a sudden I looked up, it's like, oh my God, almost 10 years has passed. That is not, I didn't mean that to have that happen. And I don't know, and some of these songs are special. These collaborations, like the first single is with I collaborated with Vitamin D, something I had made in Reason, and then he listened and he was like, "Oh yeah," and we began to replace the sounds and you know um, with his ear, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that direction, yeah, that's what I was meaning to say." Um, and well, Danye Goodman also is can contributed to the title track. Actually, a couple
Ooh.
songs, a couple songs. "Stay Here with Me." "Stay Here with Me" has an interesting story as well because I don't know if you know who Evan Flory Barnes is.
Mm-mm.
Evan Flory Barnes is a bass player, local guy, one of our resident geniuses, just a genius. And he had written for a 50-piece orchestra, and one of the movements was called a. Let's see,
I
it was
do
called,
know him.
yes, yeah,
I know he played
yeah.
with my uncle at
Oh,
Jazz
very
Alley.
cool.
Yeah, Moise Lucas.
Ah,
He's a drummer. And like he played at we played at Jazz
you
Alley.
are right. You
And he
are right.
and he played at UW with a few different people a few
Yes.
times. Like, yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's because that's where he yeah, he studied at UW. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
Evan
Take
Floyd
that
Barnes
back.
wrote this song. Right? Evan Floyd Barnes wrote this song called "Apex of a Beautiful Day,"
Mm,
and which has gone by other names since then. And when he taught it to me, he and I are both Capricorns. I'm December 26th. I think who I'm
oh wow.
his exact birthday is like the January 15th or January something, 10th or something. I probably have it wrong. However, when I heard it, I was like, yeah, I was like, hey, I was like, that sounds like a song that I would write. So I promised him that I would write words to it, and "Stay Here with Me" is that. So it
Oh
took me about 10
wow.
years to do that as well. I told him, then I was like, I don't know what took me so long to write words to it. So "Stay Here with Me" is uh, a collaboration between me, Evan Flory Barnes, and Danye Goodman, who actually
Yo.
made all the production tracks, after hearing my
Oh
version of it.
wow.
So
Wow. So
yeah.
that's gonna be a fire album then.
It's going to be there's some fun and lots of some introspective things on there. Some different something different, some things that are different than
Mm.
that third album too. Just uh, a next step maybe. You know,
Ooh. Ooh.
next step
Ooh.
because
The evolution.
yeah, because can't get enough. I mean, that would maybe a hard one to follow because for me, I liked almost all the songs. Like
Yeah.
and I liked all the songs really, but yeah, it's just that how do you follow that up? So this was, I think, an appropriate follow up without necessarily trying to eclipse it or you know
Yeah.
I think I've separated myself like from
Mm.
comparing what I'm doing now to that. Like, okay, well, what is next? So these are next,
I
and
like
this is
that.
me really just picking up the mantle again. Like, okay, I want to put out songs and records, and these have been sitting around. Like, let's get these out
Mm.
because there's more. There's more coming. So, yeah,
Oh, I love that. Well, it comes back to that point of I love the fact that like the kind of like the musical journey has really mirrored almost like the spiritual journey of just like wanting that continuing the unfoldment and like a new identity. It's like, yeah, it's still the same beautiful aspects, but it's going to be different inevitably. But when we
yeah,
hold on to the past, like what you're saying earlier, it's like everything pretty much stems from the past in short. Like, yeah, because it's those
hmm
past expectations and assumptions and kind of parameters that we put on ourselves that really hold us back from being here in the now.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
yo.
So yeah, this album, "Stay Here with Me," is yeah. I'm really more just for me like "Can't Get Enough" was about the songs. This is about getting them out. This
Yeah.
one is about getting them out, and like
Mm.
as an action that I'm committed to. Like, sure,
Yeah.
I love creating and making music, but it's the sharing of it with the world that is like it would be completely incomplete for me without. It's just
Yeah.
and many I know many artists that are they have just a personal, and I've had that too, but it's like there's something about getting it out there for others that it
Yeah.
connects to, and it used to be,
Right.
about, I want people to like it, but now it's more about it'll find the people,
Who
that
need
music
it?
will find it, that yeah, the people that need that want that, they'll come, and that's going to be interesting, whoever they are.
I love that field of dreams mentality, just like build it and they
All
shall
right.
come.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Indeed, indeed,
yo,
indeed.
that's so fascinating because you think about, I mean, I think that's just the power of music and how just like one song, one track can change that kind of like sad mood to like uplift it, can keep you from like distracted to driven, can really just change your perspective on everything and like almost
Yeah.
symbolize a moment or an experience in your life. Like that's the power of like the arts. And when you're able to create stuff like that, like again, like it's just a testament for you as a musician, but just like being able to tap into your inner divinity, as I say, you know, because it's like
Well,
being able to take that light and shine it across the world and just let people love and just feel it. Get out of here. That's awesome.
it is awesome, and hopefully gives others permission to do the same if they've been holding out, you know.
Give them permission. That's the best line. I love that because you have to
Yes,
give
yes,
yourself permission just to be free. And if you don't
yeah,
do that, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah. True, true, true.
So here's a little fun one that I'm curious about. Like, what crowd has just been like, this is like one of the top 10 audio, or like the best? I don't want to say like the best because it's hard to always put it into one, but like, what's been the
Whew.
best audience or like just crowd experience that you've had as a musician? Because you've toured the world, you've gone all over. So who throws down?
Paris throws down. Paris throws down. I mean, and we were at a little tiny, tiny. I thought it was a pretty small club, but it was legendary at the same time. Like it was
Oh wow.
pictures on the wall of Miles Davis and James Brown had played there. But and it was just packed. But I mean, the response to Diggable Planets. We were there on what was that? Was that 2000? I think 2017, and it was like Thanksgiving in the United States. But I mean, they were loud. Yeah, they were wow. I mean, we felt. I mean, there was the. Paris left an impression.
Yeah.
It was my
Yeah.
it was my first time being there. They left an impression. They were very into the music, very very
Mm.
into the music, and they're not the only ones. That's just the one that come to like. Who else just was super great? When we played in Sao Paulo, Brazil,
Oh my gosh, I can
just
only imagine.
just lots of love. I mean, man, it's just lots and lots of love. Um, yeah, and they know how to party. People in Brazil know how to have a good time. They know how to have a good time. Absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
it. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, what makes the
I mean,
experience so great? No, you can keep going, keep going, keep rolling with it.
what makes the experience? What makes the experience of what? Of the
Of
experience of
just
playing music, or
of just like being in that type of environment, like when like because we talked a little bit on just like when you're playing and in that flow, but like can you? Because I know like personally, like how do you feel the energy
Mm.
of like the audience?
Yeah, I was just about to say it's all about the energy because it's like when it's pretty amazing that literally when the audience is with you, you can't do anything wrong. Like when the audience is like that, sending you that big a listening, like you can't. I mean, to step into that, like
Mm.
I've experienced doing things as a musician that I probably can't do without them there. It's like I
Interesting.
wouldn't even have gone in this direction or had the audacity to try and sing that or to play that or to be this free without that big sea of love that's actually expanding what I even thought was possible on stage. I mean, like I said, I've had practice with jam bands like that energy from the audience completely. It's them creating me, creating them, all that stuff. Like this back and forth, back and
That
forth.
exchange of energy. And that little
Yes,
boost,
yes,
it's giving you
yes,
that extra vitality, that extra tapping into the source, and like, oh, yo, that's so
yes.
special.
It really is. It really is. I mean, like I literally remember having performances where I my voice was, you know, either I was tired or not. It just wasn't where I thought it needed to be. But then the energy of the crowd had me sing beyond that. Just like, well, all right. I didn't even know that. Thank you, thank you. I guess this is why we do this, right? Yeah, it gives me inspiration to take those next steps, whatever they are. When I'm saying, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," and I'll look stupid. It's just that what gets me to take that next step is that, this is all energy. This is about, how does this feel? Is this something that you want? Is this something that would be great for someone else to experience?
Yeah.
That just like you said, it's all about that energy. Like, not about these things that I see that are limiting, or these insecurities. How does this be fun and uplift and all that?
That's beautiful.
And I also wanted to say that I consider your music to be soul music.
Okay, me too. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why I say soul music is because your music has soul. You put the soul in the
Facts.
music. It's not the genre of the music, it's the
Got it.
experience of the music. Like
Wonderful.
your music, you kind of touched upon it earlier. I just want to elaborate and validate what you said, is that I do experience your music. Whatever
Yeah.
emotion you're putting down, I'm picking up. It is transmutable and it is receivable. And that, to me, it affects my soul.
Yeah.
That's why I call it soul music, is that it moves me. It makes me feel an emotion. It makes me experience your experience. And not all music does that. Not all music has a heart or a life of its own. But I can tell that you are deliberately creating an experience for the listener. So the listener becomes an active participant. Like
Right? This
I
is
can't,
true.
I
Right.
can't help but experience it. Like Peter was saying, he's listening to the music. Finally, he just had to stop what he was doing and just pay attention to the music. Like
It's like,
it's
I love that. Yes.
Well, that's the response I feel like anytime you get like a physical, like, ooh,
Yeah.
like, that's how you know it's good.
I love that. Yay.
And I feel that same way. Like when you're in a concert and you're performing, like those audience members are active participants in your show. They're actively participating. They're not sitting there with their arms crossed, just judging you.
Right.
So weird.
That would be weird, wouldn't it? Yeah. But I also liked how you shared your experience with Can't Get Enough, how it took 6 years to produce that album. And part of me kind of understands, being a producer myself, that I create games with myself. I create arbitrary deadlines, because if I didn't do deadlines, then nothing would,
Right.
there'd be no pressure or it's a false sense of urgency. Like, oh, okay, but it's just the game I'm playing. It's arbitrary deadline. Sometimes it does create a little bit stress, but what it does is it makes me take action. Right. And so, but what I've also learned, especially when it comes to projects, whether it be a live stream show or a music or a video or a website, because I have a lot of projects, various projects, short film. You were in a short film of mine. And what I've learned, though, is that as eager as I am to create it and get it out there, you just can't rush perfection. Now, how that perfection shows up is typically not how I expect it to be.
Right.
Because you were talking about expectations, and if we just released expectations, our whole experience of each moment would be completely different. I get that we bring expectations into the show. Like somebody sits down and turns the show on, they have a certain expectations of what they want to receive out of the show. But at the same time, there's no defined expectation of how it's going to be.
Right.
And so what I've learned to make life a little bit simpler is that however I expect it to be, I expect it to be different. That way I'm not disappointed.
Got it. I can hear that.
Because expectations are a form of control. And if things aren't like, if this show isn't going the way I expect it to be, then I somehow it's like my fault, or I have to control this, or I have to change this, right? The show has a life of its own. And the thing is that the expectations are sometimes, when I release my expectations, it turns out greater than I ever expected.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've allowed more things to happen and to occur that are greater than I. Like I can only think of and do so much. Like beyond my realm, there's so much that I don't know. And that's where releasing the expectations is a daily practice.
Yes. Yes. Woo. Yeah. Very serious.
Boy, I feel like
I
I just
love it.
crammed a whole bunch of words into a little short moment. That's my excitement. This is my natural state of being, is that, and
That's
I
right.
also get that if I'm not having fun, then, it's really hard for me to be emotionally involved
Mm,
into anything.
yeah.
If I'm not feeling
Yeah.
it. There was a gentleman that asked me to be part of a live stream. And as he explained the live stream, I said, I'm not feeling it. If I can't feel it, I can't produce it, because if I'm not injecting love into it, if I'm, then it's going to be lackluster. That's what I've learned. Like, if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, if I'm not, then who else? If I'm writing a story and I'm not loving it, who else is going to love it?
Right. It's got to start with you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
Always, though.
also want to thank all our viewers for the support and allowing us to be us. Like, this one thing about our show is that Peter and I certainly haven't put any expectations on the show when we created it, did we, Peter?
No, not at all.
No, we just kind of make it up as we go. And the show kind of dictates to us how it's going to be. And
Yeah.
and like, even before you showed up, we kind of have our own discussion about, okay, we don't discuss what we're going to talk about. We just kind of, we talk about other things to prepare ourselves for the show. And we just kind of get grounded and centered and being with ourselves and being with the truth and being in the moment. And if we do that, we have a great show.
Okay.
Always.
And
we
so
got great
wanna-
guests too.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's where I was going with this. And because of this, it allows our guests to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so
Facts.
thank you for being vulnerable with us. Thank you for expressing yourself. Thank you for not holding back. Thank you for not dumbing it down. And thank you for being honest and open.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got that. Thanks so much.
It spreads light and it spreads that love that really this kind of show, when we got the ball rolling, it stepped into, where it was like, oh wow, this is actually really insightful stuff, and it's just a very casual, very deep topics at a very casual pace and manner.
Yeah.
Like so many life lessons, so many. You dropped so many nuggets of wisdom in this one. I can't wait for the listeners to tune in, because, whew.
Oh.
Roll the outro.
Yay.
Have a happy always.
Oh yeah.
That concludes this episode of Creatives Chat. Thank you for watching. Join us every Thursday at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Daily Time as creative minds get together and chat about who knows what. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again to our sponsors for making this show possible.